moments in life when everything feels like it's falling apart, when the people you trusted betray you, when your whole world is turned upside down. Ethan knows this all too well. After years of being lied to and betrayed by Lily, the woman he once loved, he was left to pick up the pieces of his shattered life. But instead of letting the hurt define him, he chose to rise above it. He chose to rebuild, not just his life, but his relationship with his children, his sense of self, and even his capacity to love again. What happens when everything you thought you knew about your life is turned upside down? Ethan is finding out. The journey isn't easy. It's filled with tough decisions, moments of doubt, and painful realizations. But with each step, he's learning to move forward, one choice at a time. And there's one thing that keeps him going: the future is still unwritten. The past doesn't have to define who he is or who he will become. No matter how dark the past may seem, there's always a way to rebuild, to heal, and to find peace again. As Ethan's story unfolds, he discovers that the real strength doesn't come from the battles won or the victories achieved, it comes from choosing to rise after every fall. He's learning to embrace new beginnings, and with the support of those who truly care, he's moving toward a future full of possibility. But Ethan's journey is just beginning. What about you? How do you rise from the ashes of your past? What's your next step in your own story? I just want to take a moment to thank you all for being here and for being part of this journey. Your support means more than words can express. Writing this story has been a personal journey for me, and I'm grateful to know that you're reading, engaging, and sharing in this experience. This story is not just about Ethan or the struggles he faces, it's about us, too. It's about the challenges we all go through, the choices we make, and how we find the strength to move forward. Ethan's journey of rebuilding, healing, and rediscovering himself resonates deeply because it reflects the moments we all face in our own lives. And I hope it's inspiring you, as much as it's inspired me to write. But now, I want to hear from you. What part of Ethan's journey resonates most with you? What's something in your life that you've been able to overcome, or something you're working on? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is more than just a story, it's a community, a place to share, connect, and support one another. As I continue to work on the next chapters, I want to make sure that the story keeps reflecting not only Ethan's growth, but also the journey you're on. Thank you for your continued support. Let's dig deeper into this story together, and I can't wait to hear what you think. Ethan picked up his duffel bag and briefcase, making his way down the gravel path toward the front door. He unlocked it gently, hoping to surprise them. The familiar scent of jasmine incense lingered in the air, a scent that Lily had always loved in the evenings. Upstairs, music was playing, but it wasn't the jazz melodies she usually listened to. Tonight, the beat was fast and electronic, completely out of place. He placed his bags on the wooden floor by the door and called, "Lily?" There was no answer. The music kept thumping from upstairs. Ethan slowly ascended the stairs, his fingers brushing along the polished oak banister. The door to the master bedroom was cracked open, a soft light spilling out into the hallway. He nudged the door open, preparing to announce his arrival. But just as he stepped inside, he heard Lily's voice, only it wasn't directed at him. "He's so predictable," she said. Ethan stopped in his tracks, his foot hovering just outside the room. Lily was sitting on their bed, her back to him, phone pressed to her ear. She hadn't noticed his presence. Her laughter echoed through the room, light and carefree, but laced with something that felt wrong. "A walking cash machine," Lily said, her voice dripping with amusement. "David, baby, just wait. As soon as the divorce is finalized, I'll be free, and I'll have everything." The words hit him like a physical blow. His chest tightened, but he didn't react. Years of discipline in his work kept him steady. Instead of barging in, demanding answers, he stood frozen. He silently retreated into the shadows of the hallway. The closet door was slightly ajar, and through the gap, Ethan saw Lily's reflection in the mirror. She was smiling, her expression almost malicious, twisting a strand of hair around her finger. "I've been planning this," she added, her voice a mix of excitement and cold calculation. "The lawyer says I get half of everything, including his business shares." Another laugh. "No," he doesn't have a clue. He's too busy with his precious app to notice what's going on right in front of him," she continued, her tone dismissive. Ethan's heart rate slowed, his mind becoming more focused. While most men might have crumbled, Ethan's thoughts sharpened. Every word Lily spoke was another piece of the puzzle. "The kids will be fine. They barely see him anyway," she went on. "You're way more fun." That was a lie. Ethan had always made time for the kids, helping with homework, attending sports games, you name it. Lily was the one who missed most of those moments, always with some excuse. "Next week, I'll give him the papers," she said, "then it'll all be over." Ethan stepped silently back into the shadows, slowly descending the stairs. He grabbed his bags and left, making sure to leave the door ajar, just as he had found it. Once in the car, Lucas sat still for a moment, gathering his thoughts. The betrayal wasn't just about the affair, it was the cold calculation, the lies, the months of deliberate planning. She wasn't after just his wealth. She wanted their daughter too. Lucas started the car and drove aimlessly for an hour, trying to clear his mind. When he returned, he knew he had to act like nothing was wrong. He'd kiss Sarah, hug their daughter Maya, and carry on as if his world hadn't just shattered. No one would know the truth, he'd heard it all. An hour later, he walked back inside. "I'm home," he called out. Sarah appeared at the top of the stairs, wearing a new outfit, her smile as polished as it had always been. But now, Lucas saw the emptiness behind it. "Back early?" she asked, descending the stairs to meet him. "I finished sooner than I thought," he replied, accepting her kiss without feeling a thing. Maya came running down the hall, jumping into Lucas' arms. "Miss me, Dad?" she asked. "More than you know," he replied, setting her down. "So, what's for dinner?" "Mom said we could have pizza tonight, can we?" Maya asked eagerly. "Of course," Lucas said, trying to sound normal. Just then, a quieter Maya appeared. She wasn't as energetic as her younger sister, but her presence was comforting. "Hey, Dad. How was the trip?" she asked. "Productive," Lucas said, giving her a hug. She was growing fast, soon she'd be taller than Sarah. "How's the science project going?" he asked. "Almost done. Can you look at it later?" Maya asked. "Of course," Lucas answered, smiling. At dinner, Lucas kept the mask on. He laughed when it was expected, asked about their days, and didn't let on that he knew Sarah had been checking her phone every few minutes. He watched her, the stranger pretending to be his wife, and wondered how he had missed the signs before. After the kids were in bed, Lucas retreated to his office. He opened his laptop, but didn't get to work. Instead, he began plotting. If Sarah wanted a war, he was ready, but not the kind she expected. He started typing names, dates, accounts, assets. This wasn't about business anymore, this was about strategy. His fingers moved with purpose, each keystroke a step closer to his next move. No anger, no pain, just cold determination. For the next 7 days, Lucas kept up the act. He went to work, came home, helped the kids with their homework, and slept beside Sarah as though everything was fine. Meanwhile, he was preparing. He met with his lawyer under the guise of discussing tax details, tracked household expenses, and moved some assets to safer places. Then, on the 8th day, it came. Ethan sat at the kitchen table, sipping his coffee while reading the morning news on his tablet. Maya and Noah were upstairs, Maya helping her brother with a school project. The house was quiet except for the soft ticking of the clock on the wall. Lily walked in, dressed in a crisp blouse and tailored pants, her makeup flawless even though it was still early. She held a manila envelope in her hand. "We need to talk," she said, her voice calm but tight. Ethan looked up, his expression unreadable. She sat down across from him, placing the envelope on the table, tapping it twice with a perfectly manicured finger. "This isn't working anymore, Ethan," Lily said. "What's not working?" he asked, sipping his coffee, eyeing her over the rim of the mug. "Us," she replied simply. "This marriage." She slid the envelope toward him. These are divorce papers. I've already talked to a lawyer. Ethan set his mug down slowly. He took the envelope, opened it, and skimmed the first page with a calm gaze. His mind was already working, analyzing her every move. Sunday morning. The kids were home, but busy. Smart move. She dressed up, probably expecting a fight or tears. Ethan remained composed. How long? He asked, his tone even. What? Lily asked, thrown off by the question. How long have you been planning this? Ethan's voice didn't waver. Lily shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Does it matter? It's over. We both know that. Ethan nodded slowly. He pulled out a pen, the one Lily had given him on their 10th anniversary. Without flinching, he signed, initialed, and dated the papers. There, he said, sliding them back to her. Anything else? Ethan asked. Lily stared at him, clearly confused. That's it? No fight, no begging? Ethan leaned back in his chair. You want out, you got it. Her face flickered with uncertainty, but then the familiar smirk returned. I'll have my lawyer reach out about the kids and assets. Of course. Ethan stood, grabbing his tablet and empty mug. You're moving out tomorrow, right? Yeah, she hesitated. You want me to tell the kids or will you? We'll tell them together, Ethan said calmly. Tonight, he added, then turned to the sink to rinse his mug. He heard her huff behind him, clearly thrown by his calm demeanor. Her heels clicked on the hardwood as she left the kitchen. He gripped the sink for a moment, allowing himself a fleeting moment of raw emotion before locking it away again. The cold water was grounding. This was just the beginning. The real fight was about to begin. That evening, they sat the kids down in the living room. Maya was curled up on the armchair, legs tucked under her, while Noah sprawled out on the floor. Both of them watched their parents closely. Lily spoke first. Your dad and I have something to tell you. Noah looked up from the carpet. Are we getting a dog? He asked eagerly. Ethan shook his head. No pets. Your mom and I are separating. She's moving out tomorrow. The room went dead silent. Maya's face hardened, her eyes shifting between her parents. Noah frowned, confused. Like a divorce? He asked. Yeah, Lily replied, her voice steady but cold. Sometimes adults realize they're better apart, Ethan added. Why? Noah asked, his voice shaking. Did Dad do something wrong? Lily opened her mouth to respond, but Ethan cut in. No one did anything wrong. People change. Your mom wants something different now, and that's okay. Ethan saw Lily's eyes flash with irritation. She wasn't expecting him to frame it like that. Maya's voice was flat as she spoke. Do we have to move? No, Ethan reassured her. You'll stay here with me. Your mom will visit, and sometimes you'll stay with her. But I don't want Mom to leave, Noah said, his face crumpling as he ran to Lily and wrapped his arms around her waist. Please don't go. Lily stroked his hair, murmuring soft words. She cast a glance at Ethan, as if Noah's distress proved her point. Maya stayed still, watching them with an unsettling calmness for her age. I'm going to my room, Maya said flatly. Maya, wait, Lily began, but Ethan interrupted. Let her go, he said quietly. She needs time. After Noah calmed down and went to his room, Ethan and Lily were alone in the living room. That went as well as it could, Lily said, straightening her blouse. They'll adjust, Ethan replied, repeating her words from earlier, though she didn't realize it. Kids bounce back. I'll be here tomorrow around noon to get my things, Ethan said. The movers are coming, Lily nodded. I'll be at work. Take what's yours. The lawyer will handle the rest. Lily turned to head upstairs but paused. For what it's worth, I did love you once. Ethan met her gaze. I know. She seemed to expect more, but when none came, she went upstairs. Ethan stayed in the living room, listening to the house. Upstairs, Noah was crying. Maya's door was shut. Ethan briefly closed his eyes, then went to comfort his son. The next day, Ethan went to work as usual. He closed the door to his office, ignored calls, and immersed himself in his work. Numbers made sense to him, patterns were soothing. People, especially Lily, didn't. That night, when he came home, Lily's closet was empty. Her vanity was bare. All her things, perfume, jewelry, shoes, were gone. The photos and the kids' artwork were still on the walls, the remnants of the life he'd built. Maya was at her desk, books spread out, pencil moving across paper. "You okay?" Ethan asked from the doorway. She didn't look up. "Fine." "Want to talk about it?" he asked softly. "Not really," her pencil paused. "Is she living with him?" Ethan froze. "With who?" Maya finally looked up, her eyes meeting his directly. "Robert, from the gym. The guy she's always texting." A cold clarity washed over Ethan. "You knew?" "Yeah, I'm not dumb." "She's not exactly hiding it." Maya went back to her homework. "You deserve better." Ethan crossed the room and placed a hand on her shoulder. She leaned into the touch, just a little. It was the only sign that she wasn't as okay as she seemed. "We'll be fine," Ethan promised. "I know," she said, giving him a small smile. "You always have a plan." Later, after checking on Noah, who'd cried himself to sleep, Ethan went back to his office. He opened a new document and started typing, focusing on one thing. Robert Cole, gym owner, around 35. Affair with Lily, how long, still unclear. It wasn't much, but it was a start. And Ethan was damn good at building things. 2 weeks passed in a new routine. Ethan dropped the kids off at school, picked them up after, cooked, helped with homework, and tucked Noah in at night. Lily called every now and then, her voice fake sweet through the phone. On weekends, she'd take them out, amusement parks, movies, shopping, returning them with bags of new toys and clothes. Trying to buy their love, Ethan thought. But he kept his mouth shut. Meanwhile, he kept digging. He joined Robert's gym, paying for a year up front. The place was fancy, with glass walls and shiny equipment. Robert was there a lot, chatting up the clients. Ethan kept his distance at first, blending in. He came early, when it was quiet. He observed, waited. On day 3, he struck up a conversation with the receptionist. "Great place," Ethan said, signing in. "Been open long?" "About 5 years," the receptionist answered. "Robert built it from scratch, big success." "Sounds like it. He must be a smart guy." She leaned in a little. "Between you and me, I think he had help. His girlfriend put in some cash. She's got money." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Lucky guy. They've been together almost 3 years now." 3 years. The words hit Ethan like a hammer. Maya was 11 then. Noah was 7. 3 years of lies. "You know her?" he asked, keeping his tone casual. "Lily, sure. She comes in all the time. Gorgeous woman. Always looks perfect," Ethan replied, keeping his face blank. "Thanks for the info." "Have a good one," she said as he walked away, his mind racing. 3 years wasn't just an affair, it was a whole second life. In the next week, Ethan got more pieces of the puzzle. He befriended a trainer who liked to gossip, eavesdropped in the locker room, and checked social media. Lily kept her profiles clean, but Robert wasn't so careful. There were pictures of them together, restaurants, parties, even a beach trip, all while Lily had claimed to be somewhere else. But Robert wasn't the only one. One offhand comment from the trainer sent Ethan digging deeper. Before Robert, Lily was with that tech investor. What was his name? Soon, Ethan found out about at least 2 other affairs. One with a businessman who traveled a lot, and another with a local artist. Lily had told him she was going to cultural events. Ethan documented everything. Names, dates, locations. He didn't confront Lily yet. Not until he had more. He was building his case. 3 weeks after the divorce papers were signed, something new hit Ethan. An idea that came to him in the middle of the night. A suspicion that had been growing, but hadn't fully formed. The next morning, he called in sick to work. After dropping the kids off, he drove across town to a medical clinic. "I need paternity tests," he said to the receptionist, "for 2 kids." She handed him the forms without a blink. "You'll need DNA from all parties." Ethan nodded. "I've got access to their toothbrushes." "That work?" "That's fine." "And the mother?" "I don't need her, just the kids." The woman softened a bit. "Results take about a week." "Rush it," Ethan said, pulling out his credit card. "Please." 5 days later, an email hit his secure inbox. Ethan sat in his office, staring at the screen. He knew this could change everything. He clicked. The medical terms were dense, but the conclusion was clear. 0% probability of paternity for both kids. Ethan leaned back, the room spinning. Neither Maya nor Noah was his biological child. 14 years of fatherhood, all a lie. 10 years, also a lie. He stood up, pacing the room. He couldn't process it. The kids he raised, loved, taught, they weren't his. Their real fathers could be anyone, maybe even men Lily never told him about. Did it matter? Ethan stopped moving. Did it change how he felt about them? Did it change the years of bedtime stories, teaching Maya to code, cheering for Noah at soccer? No, it didn't. They were still his kids. But Lily had stolen something precious, the truth. She'd let him think they were his flesh and blood. That night, as he helped Noah with math and listened to Maya talk about her day, Ethan watched them closely. He searched their faces for signs, wondering if he'd missed something all these years. But all he saw were the kids he loved. He wouldn't tell them, not now, maybe never. This was his burden to bear. But Lily would know that he knew, and she would pay for every lie. Ethan tucked the paternity results into an envelope and slipped it into his briefcase. "Let the games begin," he whispered to the empty room. The opulence of the place was suffocating. White tablecloths, crystal chandeliers, everything too polished, too perfect. A facade for the fake smiles, the fake happiness inside. Ethan stood at the bar, eyes locked on Lily and Robert in the corner. Her laugh rang out, but it was hollow. Robert's hand rested possessively on hers, a clear display of ownership. She wore a new dress, one that screamed expensive. And Robert had his arm around her like he owned her. The perfect little power couple. Ethan straightened his tie, adjusted the envelope in his hand. This wasn't just any envelope. It was the weapon he'd been sharpening for months, a well-timed strike. He'd been waiting for this moment. His steps were deliberate, slow, and silent on the plush carpet as he approached their table. Lily noticed him first. The color drained from her face as her laughter cut off. Robert's eyes narrowed when he saw Ethan. His grin turned smug, almost satisfied, like he knew this moment was inevitable. But he couldn't hide the twitch of annoyance that followed. Ethan stood in front of them, casual, too calm. He locked eyes with Lily first, his voice low but dripping with cold politeness. "Hello, Lily." She tried to mask the shock, straightening in her chair. "Ethan," she forced out, her voice too sweet, too fake. "What a surprise." "No surprise at all," Ethan replied smoothly, his gaze shifting to Robert. "So this is Robert, the great Robert. I've heard all about you." Robert's hand tightened around Lily's wrist, the muscles in his jaw flexing. He leaned forward, his voice dripping with forced diplomacy. "Look, man, I know this must be uncomfortable." But Ethan cut him off with a raised hand. "No, it's not uncomfortable." His eyes bored into Robert. "In fact, I came here to congratulate you both." Lily blinked, her face faltering in confusion. "Congratulate us?" she asked cautiously. "On your freedom," Ethan said, his smile thin and sharp. He slammed the envelope down between them, a subtle but deliberate impact. A little gift to mark the occasion. Lily looked from Robert to Ethan, her lips twisting into something between a smirk and a wince. "That's civil of you," she said with a strained tone. "Closure," Ethan said, stepping back. "I believe in it." He gave them one last look before turning to leave, his pace measured. As he moved toward the coat check, he could feel the tension crawling up his spine. Every step he took was deliberate, a perfect show of control. Ethan stopped just out of their line of sight and turned, watching the drama unfold. Lily opened the envelope slowly, as though unsure of what she was about to face. But he could see the exact moment when the realization hit her. Her hand trembled, the color drained from her face, and she passed the papers to Robert, who didn't waste any time skimming the contents. The atmosphere in the room shifted. The low murmur of the diners quieted, eyes snapping toward them. Robert's face darkened, his eyes narrowing in disgust, and then he stood up like a man who had just been slapped. His voice was a sharp, guttural bark, rising above the quiet. "You told me they were his," he spat, his words slicing through the air. "You told me they were his." Lily flinched, her face pale and shocked. "I thought they were," she stammered, fumbling for something to hold on to, but it was too late. Ethan stepped back into the fray, this time closer, his presence too heavy to ignore. His voice was a whisper, but it cut like a knife. "No," he said, leaning in. "You knew. You knew, or at least suspected. You knew exactly what you were doing. And now you get to feel it." Ethan let the words hang in the air, thick with venom. "The truth comes out, the lies catch up to you. Everything you thought you had is slipping through your fingers." The entire room had fallen into silence. Even the staff stood frozen, unsure whether to step in or stay out of it. Lily, clutching the papers to her chest like a shield, hissed, "You can't prove anything, this could be fake." Ethan didn't even blink. "The lab's reputable," he said, his smile chilling. "Check them if you want, but something tells me you already know the truth." He leaned in even closer, practically tasting the fear in the air. "The timing is perfect, isn't it? Your little fling with the tech investor, around the time Maya was conceived, and that artist, Noah's little pet project." Robert's face twisted into a snarl of betrayal. He glared at Lily, his fist clenching. "You said I was the only one," he yelled, venom dripping from each word. "You said it was just me before this piece of crap." He jabbed a thumb in Ethan's direction. "Shut the hell up," Lily muttered, but it was too late. Robert was already on his feet, rage boiling over. He threw his napkin down onto the table with enough force to make a sound. "We're done," he spat, the words coming out like an explosion. "Don't even bother," Ethan tilted his head, savoring the moment. "The divorce settlement," he began, his voice too smooth, like honey before a knife. "That'll be interesting, won't it?" Robert shot him a glare that could burn through steel but didn't say a word as he stormed off. Ethan's gaze lingered on Lily. He watched her face twist in the mess of regret, disbelief, and fear. "Good luck with everything," he called to them, his voice mockingly sweet. He walked out without looking back, Lily's desperate voice trailing behind him. Outside, the cool night air hit his face, and for the first time since learning about Lily's betrayal, Ethan felt some satisfaction. His phone buzzed in his pocket, a text from his lawyer. "Everything filed, court date next week." Ethan quickly typed back, "Proceed as planned." He walked to his car, the city lights blurring around him. Phase 1 complete, now for Phase 2. The morning was tense at the kitchen table as Ethan tried to keep the atmosphere light for Maya and Noah. Their breakfast remained untouched, the silence between them heavy. "Your mom called," Ethan broke the quiet, his voice steady. "She won't be picking you up this weekend." Noah, always the first to ask questions, squinted at his pancakes. "Is she sick?" "No, just handling some stuff." Maya's eyes narrowed, sensing something was off. "What happened?" Ethan met her gaze, keeping his voice calm. "Your mom and I are figuring things out, in our own way." Maya raised an eyebrow. "So, it's about Robert?" Ethan paused, surprised at how perceptive she was. Yeah, he admitted, his tone softening. But there's more to it than that, and I don't want you both to carry the weight of it. Noah's voice cut through again. He's the one mom's always texting, right? Ethan sighed, not wanting to dive deeper. Yeah. But this is adult stuff, so I need you to just focus on school and things that matter to you. Maya, never one to let things go, leaned forward, her voice a little sharper. We're not little kids, Dad. We can handle it. I know, Ethan said, a smile pulling at the corner of his mouth. Just know. Ethan sat at his desk, the soft hum of city noise creeping through the window. He had just finished going over some documents when the phone buzzed. He saw Lily's name flash across the screen, but with a quiet scoff, he ignored it. Let it go to voicemail. This was her mess to clean up, not his. When the voicemail notification pinged, Ethan tapped the screen and put the phone to his ear. He leaned back in his chair, half expecting what was coming. Her voice was raw, venomous. You fool, Lily hissed, the words dripping with fury. You think you're so damn clever. Robert won't even look at me now. Is that what you wanted, to ruin everything? She took a breath, but there was no softening. Call me back, we need to talk. Ethan let the phone fall from his ear, shaking his head as he tapped the screen to delete the message. He didn't need to hear her crying. She had made her bed, now she could lie in it. His lawyer had been clear, no more drama, minimal contact, and that's exactly what he planned to stick to. But just as the evening fell into its usual monotony, another call came through, this time an unknown number. Ethan was tired, but something nagged at him. Against his better judgment, he picked up the phone. Speaking, he answered flatly, not bothering with pleasantries. This is Robert Cole, came the strained voice on the other end. We need to talk. Ethan stood up, closing his office door behind him to make sure he had some privacy. I'm listening. Look, I don't know what the hell you and Lily are playing at, but I want out. Are the kids mine? Ethan let the silence hang for a moment, choosing his words carefully. I don't know. The tests confirm they're not mine. You'll need your own tests if you want answers on that front. There was a pause on the other end, then a deep, frustrated sigh. Jesus, what a freaking mess. Indeed, Ethan said, the word almost a chuckle in the back of his throat. Not sure why you're so surprised. I didn't know about the other guy, Robert continued, his voice suddenly more defensive but tired. Or that the kids might not be yours. Lily said you two were already emotionally separated. Whatever the hell that means. Ethan didn't respond at first. He just let Robert keep talking, savoring the control. The distance between them now so vast it felt almost suffocating. I'm backing off, Robert said eventually, his tone clipped. Whatever the hell you two have going on, I don't want in. I've got my own crap to deal with. Problems, huh? Ethan raised an eyebrow, already knowing where this was going but needing to hear it. What kind of problems? Financial audit, some questions about gym investors. Nothing major, but I don't need more complications. Robert explained, his voice edged with tension. Ethan smiled to himself, leaning back in his chair. The anonymous tip had done its job. Hope it works out for you. Yeah, Robert said, the frustration clear in his voice. Just wanted you to know I'm not the enemy here. I'm out. Ethan paused, his eyes narrowing just a touch. Noted. The call ended, and Ethan leaned back in his chair. Robert was pulling away from Lily faster than expected, which worked out just fine. Without his support, Lily would be more vulnerable. The next phase could begin. The next day, at his lawyer's office, Ethan sat across from Cameron Wilson, overlooking Seattle through rain-streaked windows. Everything is proceeding as planned, Cameron said, sliding a folder across the table. Judge Harmon is fair but tough on contracts. The paternity fraud strengthens our case. Ethan skimmed the papers. And the financials? Airtight. The prenup had clear infidelity clauses. Plus, the divorce agreement she signed without proper review. She's basically forfeited any claim to your assets. We can even countersue for damages. Ethan looked up from the papers. I don't want to bankrupt her. I just want to make sure she doesn't profit off her lies. Cameron nodded. Still playing it soft, huh? All right, but be ready. Her lawyer wants a meeting. They'll try to renegotiate. Let them try. 2 days later, Ethan sat across from Lily and her lawyer Veronica Tate in the same conference room. Lily looked worse than usual, the strain showing. This agreement is unconscionable, Veronica said, tapping the divorce papers with her nail. My client signed under duress without legal counsel. Cameron raised an eyebrow. She had 2 weeks to review the papers and consult a lawyer. She signed it knowing what she was doing. She was emotionally vulnerable. She's been planning this for months, Ethan interrupted calmly. Phone records show calls to divorce lawyers dating back almost a year. Hardly the actions of someone caught off guard. Lily's eyes widened. You checked my phone? I checked everything, Lily. The affairs, the planning, the lies. It's all documented. Veronica put a hand on Lily's arm. Let's stay on track, Mr. Hayes. Be reasonable. You're trying to leave my client with nothing. Not nothing, just nothing that's mine, Ethan leaned in. She keeps what she brought into the marriage, plus any assets in her name. Given her spending habits, that's quite a bit. The kids aren't biologically mine, as you know. But I'm still offering full support for them and asking for primary custody. That seems fair. Lily's calm broke. You can't do this to me. The house, the car, my lifestyle. You can't just take it all. I'm not taking anything. I'm just not giving you what isn't yours, Ethan met her eyes. You gambled, Lily, you lost. This is revenge, she spat. No, Ethan replied coldly. This is a consequence. The meeting ended in a stalemate, but Ethan knew the advantage was his. The court date was next week. That weekend, while the children were at a previously arranged sleepover with friends, Ethan changed the locks on the house. He also contacted the banks, credit card companies, and investment firms, ensuring Lily's access to joint accounts was restricted to minimum maintenance amounts, as permitted by the divorce filing. Monday morning, the phone buzzed. The first call from Lily came in at 8 a.m. He didn't answer. Her message was frantic. You've frozen the accounts. How am I supposed to live? The hotel's on my card for payment. He let it go to voicemail, then deleted it. Second call, same crap. The cards aren't working. Did you cancel them? You can't do this. He ignored it. Wednesday afternoon, her voice finally shifted, desperate, soft. Ethan, please, we need to be adults about this. Can we talk? He didn't call back. The court date was Thursday. The courthouse loomed in the gray Seattle sky as Ethan and Cameron Wilson walked through security to the courtroom. Lily and her lawyer, Veronica Tate, were already there. Lily looked thinner. Her hair pulled back tight in a navy suit. She looked like she'd been through a lot. Judge Harmon, in her 60s, called the court to order. Cameron outlined Lily's affairs, the paternity fraud, and the legal documents she'd signed. Veronica tried to paint Lily as a sufferer, but the evidence Cameron had was solid. Judge Harmon spoke firmly. Mrs. Hayes, did you read the divorce agreement before signing it? Lily hesitated. I skimmed it. I was upset. Did Mr. Hayes prevent you from seeking legal counsel? No. But did you understand the terms? Yeah, but I didn't realize. Mrs. Hayes, the judge interrupted, the court can't protect people from their bad decisions. The agreements are binding, the infidelity clauses are enforceable, and the paternity fraud is disturbing. Lily paled. This court upholds the divorce terms. Mrs. Hayes retains assets in her name. Mr. Hayes retains all other marital assets, including the family home. Child support will be determined after further paternity testing if Mrs. Hayes wants to pursue it. The gavel fell. Lily sat stunned, and Veronica whispered in her ear. Ethan felt no joy, just cold certainty. Outside, Lily grabbed his arm. "You've ruined me," she hissed, tears welling up. "I have nothing." Ethan pulled her hand off. "You've got exactly what you came in with, your freedom. Where am I supposed to go? What about the kids?" Ethan shrugged. "Try Robert." "Wait, he's got his own mess." She paused, understanding dawning. "You did that too? The audit?" Ethan smiled. "Have a good day, Lily." He walked away, leaving her standing there. Ethan's phone rang. He saw Robert Cole flashing on the screen. He didn't hesitate. "Robert," Ethan answered, his voice cold. Robert's growl came through the phone, sharp and full of anger. "You called a financial board on me. What the hell, man?" Ethan's tone didn't shift. "I don't know what you're talking about. They froze my accounts, you piece of crap. I can't get to my own damn money." Robert roared. Ethan leaned back, a smirk on his face. "Tough break. Almost as tough as finding out the kids aren't yours." There was a long, pregnant silence, and Ethan could practically hear Robert's blood boiling. Finally, Robert spoke again, his voice tight with barely contained rage. "She's staying at my place. You know that?" Ethan's response was dismissive, almost bored. "Yeah, figured." Robert's voice grew more clipped. "I can't keep covering her ass with this audit. She's gotta go. I'm done with this crap." Ethan paused, savoring the moment. "Your mess, your problem." "Yeah, well, just thought you should know," Robert muttered, arrogance thick in his voice before hanging up abruptly. Ethan sat in his quiet living room, everything going as planned. Lily broke, Robert couldn't help her. Yet, it didn't feel like a win. He poured a glass of whiskey and stared out at the rain-soaked skyline. Tomorrow, he'd pick up the kids. Life would go on. The next evening, Ethan knocked on Maya's door. "Got a minute?" he asked. She nodded, putting her book down. "What's up?" Ethan sat on her bed. "I wanted to talk about your mom." Maya's face shut down. "What about her?" "She's having a tough time. Financial stuff, from court." Maya didn't look up. "I'm not stupid, Dad. I know how to use the internet." Ethan smiled. "You're too smart for your own good." "So, you took all the money?" "Not all of it, just what was mine." Maya gave him a hard look. "Is this where I'm supposed to feel sorry for her?" "No," Ethan said. "I just want to know how you're feeling about this." She picked at her bedspread. She called, crying. She said she might have to leave to get back on her feet. Asked if I'd go with her. Ethan's heart skipped. "And what did you say?" "I told her no." Maya's eyes were hard. "She lied to you. She lied to us. She doesn't deserve us." Ethan reached out, taking her hand. "Maya, she's still your mother. A mother doesn't do what she did." Maya pulled away. "She called me ungrateful. Said I should be on her side. But you're the one who's always been there." Ethan's heart warmed, though it hurt. Love isn't something you earn. It just is. You can be mad, but nothing, Maya cut in. "I made my choice." She picked up her book. "I'm staying with you," Maya said. Ethan nodded. "I'll call you when dinner's ready." Noah was harder to talk to. At 10, he felt everything more deeply. Ethan found him playing video games in the den. "Hey, buddy, pause it for a sec," Ethan said. Noah groaned but paused. "What?" "Your mom might come by tomorrow to talk." Noah's face lit up, then fell. "Is she taking us this weekend?" "No, not this time. She's dealing with some stuff." "Because you took all our money?" Noah asked. Ethan blinked. "Who said that?" "Mom texted. Said you're being mean and not letting her have money for a place." Ethan sat down. "That's not exactly it. Your mom and I made an agreement. The judge said we have to stick to it. So she's poor now? Not poor, just not as comfortable. Noah turned to him. Is it because she has a boyfriend? It's complicated. Grown-ups say that when they don't want to explain. Noah crossed his arms. I'm not a baby. Ethan smiled a little. No, you're not. Your mom made choices that hurt us. Now she has less money. Will she be okay? Yeah, she'll have to work more or live smaller, but she'll be fine. Noah nodded. Can I still see her? Of course, she's still your mom. Do you still love her? Ethan hesitated. Did he? Anger, betrayal. He had those, but love? That died when he heard her plotting to take everything, including the kids he thought were his. I care about her as your mom, Ethan said carefully. But sometimes grown-ups stop being in love. Doesn't mean we stop caring. Noah seemed to accept it. Can I play now? 5 more minutes, then homework, buddy. Yes, I'm glad I'm staying with you. Ethan ruffled his hair, his throat tight. Me too, buddy. The next morning, the doorbell rang early. Ethan opened it to find Lily. She looked different. No makeup, just jeans and a blouse. Her hair pulled back. Lily, he said flatly. The kids are still asleep. I'm not here for them. Not yet. She shifted nervously. Can I come in? Ethan stepped aside. Sure. Lily walked in and looked around. You haven't changed anything. The kids need stability, Lily nodded, and they went to the kitchen. Coffee? Ethan asked. No, thanks. She sat at the counter, her hands tight in her lap. I need to talk about the kids. Ethan leaned on the counter. What about them? Robert kicked me out, she said quickly. I have nowhere to go. My credit cards are maxed. Savings are gone. I can't afford an apartment. I need help, Ethan. Ethan took a slow sip of coffee. What are you asking for? Money. A loan. Just until I get back on my feet. She looked up, desperation in her eyes. For the kids. The court was clear about the financials, Ethan said. Damn the court, she snapped. Then her voice softened, glancing at the stairs. This is about family, not legalities. The family you wanted to leave for Robert, for others before him? Ethan asked. Lily flinched. I made mistakes, but I'm still their mother. Ethan set his mug down. You are. I'll pay for a modest apartment for 6 months, he said. Not for you, but so the kids have somewhere to stay when they visit. Relief spread across her face. Thank you. Thank you so much. With conditions, Ethan added. The lease is in my name. You get a job, any job, to cover food and utilities. You stick to the visitation schedule. Her relief faded a bit. You don't trust me, do you? Would you in my position? Lily looked away. No, I guess not. She stood. Can I see them now? They'll be up soon. You can wait in the living room. Lily paused before leaving. For what it's worth, I am sorry. Not just for getting caught, for everything. Ethan didn't respond. Her apology was meaningless compared to her actions. Maya came downstairs first. When she saw Lily, her face hardened. What are you doing here? She asked coldly. Lily stepped forward with arms outstretched. Baby, I've missed you. Maya stepped back. Really? You couldn't even call all week. I've been dealing with some stuff. Dad told us you're broke because you lied and cheated, Maya said flatly. Lily shot Ethan a look. It's more complicated than that. No, it's not, Maya said. You had affairs, you lied, you wanted Ethan's money, now you can't, and it's simple. Maya, please, I'm still your mother. Are you? Because mothers don't do what you did. Maya crossed her arms. I don't want to go with you this weekend, or any weekend. Lily went pale. You don't mean that. I do. Dad didn't turn me against you. I have eyes. I heard you on the phone with Robert, laughing about Dad, calling him a walking bank account. Lily couldn't respond. I hate you, Maya whispered, her voice quiet but cutting. I don't want to see you again. She turned and ran upstairs, slamming her door. Lily stood frozen, tears rolling down her face. Ethan spoke softly, she doesn't mean it. She's hurt. She'll come around. Lily wiped her eyes. Will she, or will you make sure she doesn't? I've never spoken badly about you to the kids, and I never will. You don't have to. Your actions speak for you. Lily turned to leave. Tell Noah I came by. I'll call later about the apartment. Ethan nodded. I'll have the realtor contact you. Lily paused at the door. You destroyed me, Ethan, completely. Are you satisfied now? Ethan met her gaze. This isn't about satisfaction. It's about consequences. For what? Wanting more than being a software engineer's wife? For betrayal? For lies? For using me for 15 years while sleeping with other men, Ethan said, stepping closer. Making me believe those kids were mine. Lily looked away. I didn't know. Not for sure. But you suspected and said nothing. Ethan opened the door. Goodbye, Lily. She left without another word, shoulders hunched against the morning chill. The custody hearing was quick. With the paternity test and Lily's situation, the judge gave Ethan primary custody and Lily weekend visits. Maya, however, refused to see her. As they left the courthouse, Ethan saw Lily standing by the steps, looking small and defeated. For a second, he almost felt bad for her. Then he remembered her plotting to take everything from him. Let's go home, he said to Maya and Noah. 6 months had passed since the divorce. Ethan cooked dinner while Maya set the table and Noah fed their new puppy. Can Rex have some chicken? Noah asked. Just a small piece, Ethan replied, handing him the treat. Don't make it a habit. The doorbell rang, cutting through the quiet of the kitchen. Ethan, lost in his cooking, didn't bother to look up. He wasn't expecting anyone. I'll get it, Maya said, setting the plate down with a soft clink of porcelain. Ethan kept stirring, half listening, letting the faint sound of conversation drift in and out. But then he heard Maya's voice, sharp, tense. Something in it made him pause. What the hell are you doing here? Lily's voice followed, strained. I need to see your father, please. Ethan turned the stove off. He wasn't in the mood for this. Noah, take Rex upstairs. Noah didn't hesitate, just nodded and disappeared. Ethan took his time moving towards the entryway, a flicker of curiosity running through him. When he saw Lily, soaking wet, hair plastered to her head, it all clicked. It's raining, Lily muttered, her voice weak. Ethan raised an eyebrow. You're soaked. I walked here from the bus stop. Are you serious? Ethan snapped, his voice cutting through the air. What, no umbrella? Just decided to walk through the damn storm? She didn't reply right away, her eyes darting around, looking for something in the air. No, she finally said, but I lost my job. The cafe shut down. Ethan's jaw tightened, his irritation building. So what's the real story here? Lily wiped a tear from her cheek, the bitterness in her laugh sharp enough to make him flinch. I've been applying everywhere. You think anyone wants to hire a woman with 15 years of nothing but housework on her resume? Ethan said nothing. The words hung there, too heavy to push aside. The lease is up next week, Lily continued, her voice quieter now, breaking. I can't afford to renew it, please let me see them. Ethan didn't move, didn't blink. They got a schedule, you know the rules. Lily's voice cracked. Not anymore, Maya won't even talk to me. And Noah, he's barely a damn ghost in my life now. I'm losing them, Ethan. For a moment, Ethan said nothing, letting the silence stretch between them like a rope ready to snap. Finally, he crossed his arms, his tone cold, the steel in his words unmistakable. "What do you expect me to do? You're not getting a pity party out of me." Her face crumbled, tears welling up in her eyes. "I've made mistakes, but I'm asking for one thing, one damn chance to fix it. Can't you do that, please?" Ethan sighed, rubbing the back of his neck, his voice colder than the room. "You made your bed, Lily, now you lie in it." Lily stepped closer, desperation pushing her forward. "I can't do this anymore, Ethan, not alone, not with nothing." Ethan's face tightened, his gaze sharp like a blade. "This isn't a charity case, I've done my part. You want forgiveness? You think I owe you that? I don't." "Lily, I've already done more than enough," Ethan said, his voice firm. "I'm not the person you turn to for everything anymore. You can't keep relying on me for forgiveness." She flinched at the words, but stood her ground, her voice cracking. "You're enjoying this, aren't you? Watching me lose everything?" Ethan's gaze was sharp, the weariness in his eyes clear. "No. I'm just done carrying your weight. I'm not here to fix your life, Lily. I've tried. But you have to face your own consequences now." There was a long pause, the air thick with tension. He stood up, moving toward the door. "The kids are waiting for dinner. I'm done here." Lily stood there, unmoving, her face pale, eyes hollow. "I got nowhere to go, no job, no money. What the hell am I supposed to do?" His voice hardened like stone. "Figure it out, talk to Robert or one of your other boyfriends. I'm not your solution." Lily flinched, the words cutting through her like glass. "You're right, I deserve that, but please, please help me." Ethan studied her, eyes cold, unreadable. For a long moment, he didn't speak. Then, just as she thought he'd shut her out for good, he said, "I'll give you another month. After that, you're on your own." The relief on her face was immediate. Her shoulders slumping like a weight had been lifted. "Thank you," she breathed, her voice a soft exhale of gratitude. Ethan didn't soften. "Don't thank me, use the time wisely." He opened the door, his back to her, the finality of his words hanging heavy in the air. "Goodbye, Lily." She stood there a moment before walking into the rain. Ethan closed the door behind her and went back to his family. That night, after the kids were in bed, Ethan sat in his office staring out the rain-soaked window. The talk with Lily had shaken him more than he wanted to admit. Not because he felt guilty, he didn't, but because seeing her beg didn't bring him any satisfaction. The revenge had worked, yet the victory felt empty. His phone buzzed with a text from Serafina Grant, the journalist he'd met at a tech conference. "Still on for coffee tomorrow?" Ethan smiled, looking forward to it. He set the phone down, his mind shifting to the future. Lily wasn't his concern anymore. She made her choices, now she'd live with them, just like he was living with his. "Dad, have you seen my blue notebook?" Maya called from upstairs. "Check the living room bookshelf, you were reading there yesterday." A moment of silence, then, "Found it, thanks." 8 months had passed since Lily's wet visit. 8 months of settling into a new routine of healing. The house felt different, lighter. Ethan had redecorated parts of it with the kids' input, making it feel fresh, unburdened by the past. Rex, their golden retriever, bounded into the kitchen. Ethan scratched behind his ears. "No treats before breakfast." "Dad, can Rex come to my soccer game this weekend?" Noah asked, slinging his backpack over one shoulder. "If the field allows dogs, sure." Ethan closed his laptop. "Ready for school?" "Almost." "Did Mom call about Saturday?" "She texted, said she's looking forward to seeing you." Lily had found steady work at an insurance company. The pay wasn't great, but it allowed her to rent a small apartment. Noah resumed visits, but Maya still refused. "Cool, I want to show her my science project. She'll think the robot arm is awesome." "I'm sure she will." Ethan checked his watch. "Bus comes in 10 minutes. Better grab your lunch. Noah rushed to grab it. Maya came down the stairs, notebook in hand, headphones around her neck. At 15, she had an air of seriousness. Ready? Ethan asked. She nodded, slipping the notebook into her bag. Advanced Coding Club meets today. I might be late. Text me when you're done. I'll pick you up. Actually, Lisa's mom offered to drive me home. We're working on our project together, if that's okay. Ethan smiled. Of course, have fun. Just be home for dinner. Serafina's coming over. Maya smiled back. I like her, she's smart. Yes, she is. Ethan felt warmth in his chest at his daughter's approval. Serafina had become more than a friend over time. She promised to help me with my investigative project, Maya said, zipping her bag. She knows all the best research tricks. I'm sure she'll be happy to help. Ethan handed her a lunch bag. Boss, go. The kids rushed out. Rex followed them to the door before Ethan called him back. He watched them join the neighborhood kids at the bus stop. Maya talking with Lisa, Noah roughhousing with a boy his age. Normal, healing. His phone buzzed again, looking forward to tonight. Need me to bring anything? Serafina had texted. Just yourself, kids are excited to see you too, Ethan replied. He went through his morning routine, letting Rex out, cleaning up breakfast, preparing for his remote workday. His company had been flexible with his hours, and he worked from home 3 days a week. His desk was surrounded by family photos and kids' artwork. He opened his laptop, diving into his latest project, designing a complex security system for a major bank. He enjoyed the challenge, finding satisfaction in solving problems. Hours passed in silence until his phone buzzed again. It was a number he recognized, but hadn't heard from in weeks. Need to talk, important, please call when you can. Ethan frowned. Lily rarely contacted him directly anymore. She usually used the co-parenting app for communication about the kids. He debated ignoring it but decided against it. He called. Lily, he said when she picked up, what's the important matter? Ethan, thanks for calling back, her voice was steadier than it had been. I've been offered a job, a good one, with an international insurance company. A pause. In Chicago, Lily added. Ethan took it in. When would you start? Next month, if I accept. It's a big raise, a real shot at advancement. And you're calling because of the kids? Ethan asked, his voice even but curious. Lily's voice softened. I want them to visit me in Chicago, regular visits. I know the custody agreement says they stay in Seattle, but I'm asking for your cooperation in arranging travel. Ethan thought it over. Lily, moving to Chicago would mean less frequent visits, but also a clean break for everyone, distance that might help us heal. He added, Noah will be disappointed. I know, but I can fly back regularly, and during school breaks, they could visit me, if you're okay with it. Lily's voice was calm, no manipulation this time. And Maya? Ethan asked, I don't expect her to want to visit, but the door will always be open. Ethan nodded, though she couldn't see it. Let me think about it. Talk to the kids. If they're open to it, I won't stand in the way. Thank you, relief softened her voice. I've been trying, Ethan, to rebuild, to be better. I know. She'd kept sober, held a job, and never missed a visitation. Small steps, but real ones. There's one more thing, she said. Ethan tensed. What's that? I got a letter from Robert. What did he want? To apologize. He's in Arizona now. Getting caught in that audit was a wake-up call. He's working as a personal trainer, staying clean. Good for him. He mentioned you, she continued, said you were right to do what you did, that we deserved it. Lily paused. He wasn't wrong. Ethan didn't know how to respond to that. Anyway, just wanted you to know about Chicago. About everything, Lily's voice softened. I'm trying to make amends, not to win you back. just to be someone the kids might respect again someday. Ethan paused. I hope you succeed. He meant it, not for her, but for the kids who still carried a piece of her. I'll let you know when I've decided about the job, she said. Thanks for hearing me out. After the call, Ethan sat for a moment, processing. Lily in Chicago, space to heal. Maybe that was what they all needed. The day flew by with work and chores. By dinner time, the smell of roasting chicken filled the house. Maya was first home, excited about her project. Noah came in next, covered in mud from soccer practice, grinning like the kid he was. The doorbell rang just as Ethan was setting the table. I'll get it. Noah yelled, racing to the door, Rex right behind him. Serafina stepped in, greeting both the boy and dog. She was tall, fit, with curly dark hair and sharp eyes. She held a bakery box in one hand, fending off Rex's jumps with the other. Easy, buddy, she laughed, scratching Rex's head. Cake is for after dinner. You brought cake? Noah asked, eyes wide. Chocolate raspberry? From that bakery you like? Serafina handed the box to Ethan and he kissed her quickly, smiling. Hi. Hi yourself, he said, his smile warm. Maya appeared in the doorway. You're still gonna help me with my project, right? I've been researching interview techniques. Absolutely, Serafina said. I brought some sample question frameworks that might help. Dinner was lively, full of talk about school projects, work stuff, and weekend plans. Ethan watched his kids interact with Serafina. Maya eager to learn, Noah just enjoying her playfulness. It felt right in a way he couldn't fully explain. Later, after the kids went upstairs to do homework, Ethan and Serafina sat on the back porch watching the stars. Rex was dozing at their feet, twitching in his sleep. Lily called today, Ethan said, breaking the silence. She's thinking about a job in Chicago. Serafina looked at him. How do you feel about that? Relieved? It'd make a clean break, more space between us. He reached for her hand. Room for what's next. And what's next, Ethan Hayes? She intertwined her fingers with his. He smiled a genuine, soft smile. Still figuring that out, but I know who I want beside me while I do. Serafina smiled back. Good answer. The stars above remained constant, their dance unchanging. Ethan breathed deeply, feeling the weight of the past lift more each day. He wasn't the man who once stood frozen in the doorway, shattered by Lily's betrayal. That man was gone, hardened, broken, distant. The person sitting here now was different, softer, shaped by what had happened but no longer defined by it. His children had changed too. They carried scars, yet they had also found strength. Maya, with her sharp mind, and Noah, with his relentless optimism, hadn't just survived, they had grown. And then there was Serafina. She had come into their lives unexpectedly, but with her, she brought something new, a reminder that life is about more than holding on to old pain. Moving forward wasn't just about letting go of the past. It was about building something new. Ethan smiled at Serafina. Life has a funny way of leading you where you need to be, even if it means going through hell to get there. Together, they sat in the quiet night, knowing that while the future was unwritten, it felt full of possibility. Life wasn't easy, but with love, strength, and support, they were finding their way forward, one choice at a time.